How do I, 19F, break up with boyfriend, 22 meters, while still living with him and his parents? Boundaries and depression. Hey y'all. I'm 19F, planning on transferring to 4-year in the fall and living there. But after I was kicked out of my mom's last September, my only option was to move in with my BF and his family. They all are super kind and supportive, even if we break up, cause I think they know he's a F up. My soon-to-be ex is facing a felony case involving counterfeit cash, and I just do not see a future with his anymore. I have felt like this ever since he was arrested, but I just thought it would be dismissed. I just don't like how I'm younger than him, yet I feel like I'm fighting to bring him up to my level. Rather than his naturally being there and me learning from him, it's the opposite. How do I set boundaries, stay strong, not depressed, and successfully break up with him and stop feeling sorry for him? Too long didn't read. How can I successfully break up with someone I live with and avoid depression? Girl, I'm sorry, but you can't do that. You'll be making the atmosphere unbearable for you, and you never know how he'll react. Say find another place to stay first. Ask your friends, maybe call a social worker to help you find resources. They all are super kind and supportive, even if we break up, cause I think they know he's a F up. I wouldn't bank on that. There's supportive when someone's your family's partner, and then there's supportive when someone's not. They are not the same. First, find somewhere else to live. I don't think you have thought this out. As others have mentioned, they are supportive now. Are they going to be supportive once you end your relationship? Who knows? I would secure stable housing first. I have a very supportive mother-in-law. She recognizes my husband's negative traits and so on, but in the end she is his mother, and will always take his side. Keep that in mind. The best thing you can do is secure somewhere else to live. Trying to live with an ex and his family, and thinking it will work out fine is just unrealistic. It will only make it harder on you emotionally, and his parents may very well end up prioritizing their son and tell you it's time to leave. I see in your post history that you are still close with some of your other family members. Maybe one of them would let you stay with them until you find another place? Throwaway, relationship with one of my 20s, mentors, 50s, has become awkward ever since I realized I was being taken advantage of. I don't want this post to be too personally identifying, so I'll try to keep it general. There's this guy who's been a mentor to me for the past 2 years. We met through some of the work I did in university, although he was never my professor, and struck up a very friendly relationship that consisted of going on long walks and having engaging discussions. For the first year of knowing him, things were great. Then, he essentially asked me if I wanted to help him with one of his personal projects, sort of a just as friends type deal, no paperwork involved. I was no longer a student at this point. He made it seem like I would only be doing some occasional high-level brainstorming, so I agreed. Because I'm a doormat and a people pleaser, fast forward several months and I basically find myself doing unpaid secretarial type work and attending irrelevant meetings because I can't say no for the life of me. I was able to withdraw from this work due to a personal crisis that I'm still dealing with. During the downtime that followed, I was able to talk to some of my other mentors and family friends, and realized just how inappropriate this relationship was and how I was being taken advantage of. The problem though is that this guy has no clue I feel this way. Although he hasn't asked me to do any more work for him, he's been very pushy with trying to talk to me and has been violating boundaries even though I've told him about the personal crisis I'm going through, and clearly wants our old relationship back because he enjoys my company. The situation is killing me because he is a very friendly guy, and I do think he genuinely cares about my well-being and is concerned for me. I also feel like this is all my fault, because not only did I encourage such a personable relationship, which was never a problem prior to this work situation, but I also gave him the impression that I didn't have a problem with this volunteer arrangement. For a few months now I've basically been kicking the can down the road. I don't feel comfortable confronting him and telling him my true feelings because I feel like it might burn the bridge. I don't dislike him as a person and wish we could go back to having the relationship we used to have, but it'll take time and space away from him because I'm finding myself feeling very frustrated and resentful for allowing myself to fall into this trap. I can't seem to get the space I need though when he's constantly texting and emailing me. This situation is a mess and I could really use some advice. I'm a very guilt-ridden person and feel horrible about the way things have developed, and feel even worse about the fact that he seems to be completely and utterly clueless about it. Too long didn't read. Had an extremely personable relationship with a faculty member who became a mentor to me, allowed myself to get roped into a work-for-free situation where I was being taken advantage of, and now feel awkward because my feelings have changed while he seems to be blissfully ignorant. The best thing to do is just suck it up, explain that you feel that this is no longer an appropriate mentorship for you, then give the reasons why. This conversation can easily happen via email. I understand this is going to be really hard, but at some point, being assertive is a skill you will need to develop. You may as well start now. The problem though is that this guy has no clue I feel this way. Maybe he has some clue. He's been very pushy with trying to talk to me and has been violating boundaries even though I've told him about the personal crisis I'm going through, and clearly wants our old relationship back because he enjoys my company. Or maybe he enjoys the free labor. The situation is killing me because he is a very friendly guy, and I do think he genuinely cares about my well-being and is concerned for me. I have my doubts. It seems to me like you have realized he was taking advantage of you. You don't like it, but you're still worried about his feelings. This is like me letting my cat scratch the furniture because I know her feelings will be hurt if I don't let her. That would be pretty ridiculous, right? You didn't realize that this was inappropriate because you're so young and didn't have enough experience. This guy is in his 50s. He absolutely knows this is inappropriate. He's not friendly. He's manipulative. He is using you and has used his friendliness and caring to convince you to feel guilty about something he's done to you. Saying no takes practice. Do not initiate contact with this guy. Don't engage when he contacts you. Simple, polite answers that end the conversation is fine if you're not comfortable going full no contact. From now on, tell him you're too busy to do his work. This is a good learning experience for you. When you have people use you like this, you learn how to look out for it and protect yourself better. Don't feel bad or stupid. Learning and growing from this situation can make you stronger. Saying no takes practice. Do not initiate contact with this guy. Don't engage when he contacts you. Simple, polite answers that end the conversation is fine if you're not comfortable going full no contact. From now on, tell him you're too busy to do his work. Thanks for your advice. I think this is all I can do at the moment, or feel comfortable doing. Continue being distant and not answering messages, and if / when he eventually asks me if I want to work with him again, I'll have my no ready and waiting. Why not just tell him that you have bills and need to spend your time on classes that earn credits or compensate you in some way? Some roles supporting professors can qualify you for discount tuition or pay. Is it part of a professional organization, or anything you can put on your resume? I'm, M27, starting to suspect my coworker, M31, is in fact attracted to me. We met a couple of months ago at work. He was, and still is, the most attractive and intriguing person I've ever met, and he effortlessly made me question my sexuality, which I even made a separate post about. I already established my feelings for him and became more or less comfortable with my not-so-straight identity. Either way, he and I got pretty close in the past few weeks. We're hanging out constantly at each other's places. He doesn't fail to mention how glad he is that we've met and how he hopes we continue being friends. He keeps asking questions about me, about my life and my passions. And then there's this thing where he looks at me in a very weird way. Normally if someone caught me looking at them, I'd immediately look away. But instead he just smiles. Also, he just insists on helping me out and supporting me at every occasion. There were a few times where I came home to food or something I just needed at the time waiting on my doorstep. I'm conflicted between finding it slightly creepy and just the sweetest thing anyone could do for me. He also tends to turn to physical closeness. I mean, he often puts a hand on my shoulder or gently pats my back, and while I'm the kind of person who gets very uncomfortable when touched, I find those gestures very comforting. I'm not sure what it says about him though. I've never had a male friend I'd be this close with, so I'm not entirely certain where the line is. At first I didn't even consider bringing up my feelings for him or whatever we have going on between us, but now I'm starting to lean towards that option. Although it will probably take a while before I'm brave enough to start that kind of a conversation. Too long didn't read, my coworker and I got pretty close. He's so nice to me that I started to question his actions being completely platonic. Okay, well it sounds like you've been on one heck of a voyage. Welcome to the Not Straight Club. If you were from my culture I'd say you might be reading into things too much, but I'm going to assume you're a Westerner and say most male friendships tend to hold a certain level of detachment to them. Your situation sounds a little more invested. Especially what you said about him smiling when he looks at you. Hell, I'm gay, and if a straight guy friend were staring at me my first instinct would be to ask what. Ow, I don't want to be a downer, but I'm sure you know that same-sex affairs aren't fully accepted. Even in more tolerant societies there are still ways to go. Consider that you should play it safe as not to damage a potentially irreplaceable friendship. On the flip side, he could very well be having those very same thoughts about you. I mean, him going out of his way to make sure you're fed is kinda adorable and sounds incredibly thoughtful. If you're looking for advice, I'd say test the waters, watch a show with a same-sex couple and note how he reacts, if he reacts at all. If you want to play it even safer, ask him about his romantic history. Don't pry too much, but generally people, at least in your situation where it's a friendship with romantic undertones, tend to open up about their previous relationships to people they might be interested in. Take it slow and show your interest in the most organic way as possible. Return his smiles, hold his gaze that second longer, let a touch linger just a little. Guy sounds pretty decent and people like that are rare, so best of luck and I hope you keep us updated. First, do you want to pursue something with him? You are starting to think he may be attracted to you, but do you actually want to build a relationship with him? Especially since you are newly questioning your sexuality, it's important to think and decide if that is something you are ready for or want. I can absolutely see why this would give anyone flirtatious vibes, but potentially ask what his love language is too. Shower my friends with gifts, and I'm very touchy because my two love languages are gift and physical touch, so it could also be this. But either way, sounds like you've befriended a great person, and I genuinely hope for the best outcome for you. Yeah, I see why you are thinking this. I would be wondering too. You don't need to rush into action though. I'm sure it will become clear, at some point, what he is thinking. I am saving this post cause I'm invested. I am a gay man who has had crushes on straight men before. I have confused acts of friendship for maybe he is, many times. The info you give there is no definite answer, but your interest in it pretty much cements your feelings towards him. If I were you, I would continue to test the waters, but be very open to the possibilities that he may not have the same feelings towards you.